Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel. I want to thank a subscriber, Andrew, over on the website who shared this video of a test run of flying dragons that occurred in the sky down in Florida. And I will show you that clip now and then talk about what this potentially is or what it really actually is. But if you haven't seen this footage, take a look at this dragon flying in the sky.
That's a dragon. There's a dragon drone. There's a flying dragon outside.
So obviously when I see that, I'm sure you're thinking something along the same lines. What is the government doing? What are they allowing? And what potentially could be coming with deceptions that we know will be in the sky? We know about Operation Project Bluebeam. And of course, we know that they're doing a lot of manipulation up in the sky, including with our weather. And the answer to all that stuff from this stunning footage, which captured a realistic dragon, is none of the above. In fact, the answer is that it's just another theme park being promoted towards children, which of course will market, manipulate, and spread witchcraft, warlocks, and Satanism onto the minds of the youth. If you haven't heard, there is a new theme park called Epic Universe, and I have to show you some of the stuff that I uncovered looking at what Epic Universe is. And of course, seeing that clip in the sky made my brain immediately start thinking about the book of Revelation and deceptions. And when I saw that it was headed towards or flying over Epic Universe, and it's a test run for the grand opening of Epic Universe, I started to think about what deceptions are we going to see at this theme park? What type of mind control experiments are going to be done at this theme park? And the answer to that question is frightening ones. Frightening ones because we're getting to a point where cosplay has become a normal term in our society. We have adults who dress up as characters from movies. It used to be a thing that people scoffed at. People would see all these adults lined up outside of the movie theaters to go see Star Wars. And they weren't just going to see Star Wars. They were dressed up as the characters. And it showed a lot of us how deep this psychosis can run when it comes to movies and mind control, and how obsessive people can become. And of course, how adults are really regressing in society, because when adults start acting and behaving like children, it's a psychological defect. It is an adult regressing. It's actually a regression in behavior. And the more chaotic the world gets, the more we're seeing parents behaving as children. But what's most frightening about that is a lot of those adults have children themselves. And so those adults are passing on the mind control programming to their children. Most of you have probably seen all of the children that dress up like Harry Potter, right? I've talked over the years about Harry Potter. Not just Harry Potter. There's tons of, obviously, movies that are all about magic, but every single Disney cartoon is really based off of a theme of magic, the Magic Kingdom. Everything about Disney is about promoting magic, right? That even goes back to things like Dungeons and Dragons, right? The whole point of it was to make it a gateway for children to want to get into witchcraft and the occult. Well, this is just Harry Potter on steroids. I'm going to show you a clip, a couple of clips. Let me start with this one. Of this theme park, which will feature the magical world of Harry Potter, his ministry of magic, not a ministry of God, a ministry of magic, where you can hear for yourselves how they'll actually have these kids running around spell casting. That's right, they'll be giving out wands to the children who will be running around the streets inside of epic theme parks. And of course, everybody will tell us it's make-believe, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real, right? They're having a good time, it's their imagination. They've all been duped into this stuff. Many Christians have been duped into it as well, as these children just participate in magic. And listen to how they say when the child does all this stuff, he turns to his parents and he says, I'm a warlock, I'm a wizard. And that's what they strive for at Epic Theme Parks Universe. Unbelievable.
Universal Epic Universe is the next theme park for Universal Orlando Resort and will feature 5 astounding worlds that go beyond anything you've ever experienced before. In the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, you'll explore multiple eras of magical thrills and wonder.
But here in Paris, you go to Cosme Acajou, the premier wand maker, famous for exquisite haute couture designs. With your wand, you can cast spells and play with fantastic beasts on the loose throughout the streets.
Seeing a kid in a robe turn to his mom and yell, I'm a wizard. That's literally what we strive for.
So, of course, if that wasn't enough for you, a mass indoctrination of children being pushed into witchcraft and the occult, you have this other theme at these theme parks, at this specific theme park, of a portal. Isn't that interesting that we have this constant theme about portals over and over and over again? We have this just constant theme about portals. So what they show you here is the veil at this place, a veil which they call the Arch of the Phoenix. So you enter this park through a portal, and then you go through the Arch of the Phoenix. No correlation, of course, with the Phoenix Rising or the Arch of Baal, which is exactly what it is. And keep in mind and listen closely to what this guy says about electricity and summoning dark entities.
As guests walk through the portal, they're instantly transported to 1920s Muggle Paris, where they pass through the Phoenix Arch.
As our guests approach the portal, there's a spire that's crackling with electricity. This is how the dark energy is gathered.
And we're going to see the electricity pulsating through the land and connecting at the top of this manor.
To a new world of gods and monsters.
Get ready, tons of excitement awaits on the other side of the portal at Universal Epic Universe.
So kids, come to the theme park where you could enter through a portal, and then inside the portal, you'll enter through the Arch of Phoenix, which is really the Arch of Baal, which is a famous landmark that a few years ago I covered how they were moving it and putting it in places all around the United States of America and around the world. They were putting it in New York City. Common theme that we see here, right? And also to note, not just the mentioning of portals, but electricity, right? And dark energy. So what do you think they're referencing here with dark energy? This is just make-believe, right? Good energy and dark energy. This is a common theme that we constantly see, and it's being pushed and promoted onto children now. Now we could take all that stuff that we just saw there. We could take all the stuff with witchcraft and sorcery that they're pushing on children, and then we can look at the portal itself, right? And this theme of a portal, which is so common. We just saw that portal in New York City that they were normalizing, putting in a portal there, saying, hey, it's a camera. You could see somebody in Dublin, right? The normalization of that. Katy Perry, I just covered, released a new album or made the announcement about an album, and then had a picture of her going through a portal. The portal opens tomorrow. Eminem, in his latest album release, going through a portal in New York City. Time traveling from the year 2002. And time travel is another common theme, which I'll get into in more detail in separate videos. But I want you to look at some of this stuff with CERN that I've shown you in the past. And again, you are getting mind controlled with all of these things about portals and CERN in films like Stranger Things, like in TV shows like Evil. Even CERN themselves showing you this commercial where they show you opening a portal. They literally show this giant magic circle where they're opening a gateway and a dimension, and you can see all these demons inside the dimension, which a lot of us have tried to show people year after year after year, and they're not able to correlate what exactly they're trying to do at CERN with summoning and bringing over spirits from the other side. There's clearly an obsession here with portals. Now the obsession we're seeing is that they want to normalize portals onto children. So it's not just them normalizing Harry Potter and magic, right? Everybody's become desensitized to magic. Everybody's become desensitized to Harry Potter. Even now, when you talk to people about Harry Potter, they roll their eyes because they go, you know, my kid watched Harry Potter. He didn't turn into a witch. So now they're even adding to the theme of Harry Potter by bringing in portals. And what are these kids supposed to believe that portals are? Well, they're going to teach them about portals. Portals to travel to different dimensions, right? That's what they were showing you when you entered the theme park. You can go to a different dimension by entering the portal into Harry Potter world. You can go to a different dimension and enter the monster world, right? Well, really, they're preparing you for this, which they've been preparing you for in a lot of the movies and television shows that are out there. And that is what CERN is trying to do, where they'll tell you in the New York Times that CERN is not trying to open a portal. But anybody with common sense who could try to answer the questions, the basic questions, what are you trying to do at CERN? Well, we're trying to open a black hole. For what? To do what? Well, you don't understand because you don't understand science, right? But if you're versed in the Bible and you understand the spiritual realm and you understand the principalities of this world and how we're actually in a spiritual war, well, then you start to understand some of the things that are going on just in regards to science, because you start to say, well, all this stuff they say about science, it doesn't seem to make sense. But if I look at these things like CERN and I look at it from a spiritual perspective and a God versus the devil perspective, it seems like they're really trying to do something here, because why would these people be messing with the quote unquote universe? Why would they be trying to open up a black hole? I mean, anybody with common sense would say, well, if you're opening up a black hole, that can't be good. But here's some of the programming revolving around CERN and portals, which they now want to normalize to children.
For over 100,000 years. You weren't so different from apes. How long did it take you to discover agriculture? It took you 90,000 years to get from hunter-gatherer to farmer. How long did it take you to become industrialists? Atomic power, computers, the information age. And how long do you think it took us to get from hunting to farming, and farming to industry, and industry to atomic power? We are going to kill your science. It's a proton. One we have turned into a sentient computer. The universe has more dimensions than the 3 we occupy, but we have the technology to unfold them. We summon energies you cannot imagine. Even a tiny proton becomes something very large. A proton has virtually no mass, to the places where your best minds explore reality. Every civilization ends in chaos. There will eventually be a cataclysm from which we cannot recover. Our planet will be ripped in half.
Well, basically, there are parallel universes, infinite variations of it.
Like the Veil of Shadows.
And the tightrope is our dimension, and our dimension has rules. You can move forwards or backwards. The flea can also travel this way.
Upside down.
Exactly.
Is there any way for the acrobat to get to the upside down?
You'd have to create a massive amount of energy, open up some kind of tear in time and space. You create a doorway, like a gate. It might even swallow us up whole.
Now, Have you heard of the Garrow Research Facility?
In Long Island, the particle accelerator?
Yeah.
It actually splits the proton of the atom.
Well, you know more than I do.
Well, it's a 14-mile loop that accelerates electrons and protons close to the speed of light.
Local parishes in Ryland are protesting. The particle accelerator will open the gates of hell.
So the scientists, they want us to prove they're not opening the gates of hell.
What's that? Something that was filmed down in the particle accelerator.
Satan, help us open this portal. We deliver this sacrifice to you.
The Vatican is asking you to investigate and write up a report.
It's a prank, right?
Well, I don't know. That's your job.
They make that video, Doctor.
We're in a friendly competition with CERN, particle accelerator in Switzerland. They did a similar video making fun of the satanic panic about their opening. So what can we do to convince you we are not Satan worshippers?
I mean, it's just the name that the night ship calls it. B-33. On the proton collider, they broke through something. But there's something there. Something under the concrete. A creature. They dragged that woman into it.
That's where the beams converge.
Oh, and your safeguards.
The beams are accelerated around the loop at 13,000 revolutions per second.
Any concern about an uncontrollable black hole?
It's not going to happen.
I know. Just humor me.
If there's concern about anything, there's a kill switch.
So we've seen them start integrating more and more stuff with portals in movies and television. And now we're going from Stranger Things and those types of shows, which are geared more towards teenagers, to literally gearing this towards young toddlers who would go to this park. Now, I get it. Teenagers will go too, and so will their parents who are in their 40s, and they'll probably run around with wands and everything else. But they're normalizing portals, and this is going to be a common theme that we continue to see going forward. That's why you have to look for the repetition in the pattern. Why are you seeing these things? Why are we seeing portals in New York? Why is Katy Perry referencing a portal? Why is Eminem referencing a portal? Why are all these things in concerts? We see portals being used a lot on stage in concerts. Just the notion of the portal. And now, of course, the entranceway into a different universe at theme parks like this. It's very important that people start waking up to what all of this stuff is, right? So just to go back, we're talking about, I was talking about at the beginning of the video, a dragon spotted on camera, right? Obviously, again, the first thing I thought of when I saw that is, what are they trying to simulate Revelation? Are they preparing for something like that? And when I see, oh, okay, so they're going to have flying dragons around this theme park that people enter through a portal, duck underneath the Arch of the Phoenix, as in the Phoenix Rising, which in the Harry Potter films apparently is called the Veil. Okay, it's called the Veil in the Harry Potter movies. It's called the Veil. It says in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the veil is described as an old stone archway with a black tattered curtain hanging from it. In the film adaptation, the arch contains a semi-transparent veil of what appears to be some kind of mist. So the veil is another thing that's biblical, right? In the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 7, and Leviticus, chapter 16, verse 2, a physical barrier. That's what the veil is. And they are trying to tear through that veil and lift that veil. And it's a common theme in a lot of these films, because when something like this even happens out in the open, if it becomes noticeable, they'll just be like, hey, it's like Harry Potter. They lifted through the veil. Hey, it's like Stranger Things. Oh, okay, it's like a movie. They won't even realize that they're in a spiritual war when every single sign around them is telling them this. So another theme park focused around magic. Go through the portal to enter. Don't mind the dragons flying in the sky. And of course, give your kids a wand. Make mom and dad proud. Spellcast on your fellow citizen. It is absolutely incredible, the times that we are living in. I thank you for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always, and your families.